Hello and welcome to Reason News with me, Allisha Gayapersad Chetty. Today we're diving into the latest developments in EFF leader Julius Malema's firearms trial. President-elect Donald Trump has made some eye-opening statements about the future of U.S. support for Ukraine. TikTok's future in the U.S. is hanging by a thread. We're looking at the whirlwind romance of Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly. Lastly, we give you an update in the world of sport. The economic freedom fighters have come out swinging, claiming that the state has failed to prove its case against Julius Malema beyond reasonable doubt. The case stems from an incident at the EFF's 5th anniversary celebration in Mdantsane back in 2018, where Malema was allegedly seen firing a rifle on stage. The charges against Malema include unlawful possession of a firearm, discharging a firearm in public space, and reckless endangerment. His co-accused, Adrian Snyman, faces related charges. The closing arguments in Malema's case have been postponed to January. This delay gives both sides more time to prepare their final statements and could potentially impact the outcome of the trial.
Accusations were flying around during the closing arguments. I mean, even Advocate Hody is saying that the charge sheet that was brought by the state was adapted to suit the evidence. But the NPA had the biggest accusations that they've made, saying that it is no coincidence that the bridge block was removed from that particular firearm that was taken into evidence, also stating an issue of serial numbers, but also mentioning that the state believes it was done deliberately so that it could affect the outcome of the ballistic tests. This is what Advocate Jules Caesar had to say about that.
What Lega testified, as I've already alluded to, that he received the batch of firearms, which included this particular firearm. He performed several tests on these firearms. SPA was the only firearm whose breech block and firing pin serial numbers did not correspond with the rest of the serial numbers on the firearm. So in other words, from all those firearms, 14, 12, 14, if my memory serves me correctly, Your Worship, I stand to be corrected, it's 28, it's for about 40 of those rifles which he examined, or firearms that he examined, and this from that 40 is the only rifle whose parts were changed. It's no coincidence that that bridge block was removed, because it seems to be important when it comes to the rest of the spent cartridge as to how positive tests would have been conducted.
Well, the Malema camp, Xoli, was also, of course, throwing their own accusations, but they are adamant that the state has no case and no sufficient evidence, even making examples of saying that none of the witnesses, 19 witnesses brought in by the state, had actually said they saw accused number one firing any weapon. He also mentioned that showing the pictures of the where the stand was at Sisa, saying that the setup, according to what the setup looked like, it would have been impossible for the cartridge to land where the state says the BCM worker or cleaner had picked up the rifle cartridges, stating that there were structures that were there. He said that had those cartridges then flown out, they would have landed on those structures and not where the state said. So those were the arguments that they brought in, and zeroing in on the technicalities, really. Also looking at Larry Mavundla, who owns the company with accused number two, the security company with accused number two, stating that they had not brought him forward either for questioning or even as an accused, because if they were going to charge accused number 1 and 2, then Larry Mavundla must also be charged.
The EFF's stance comes in response to the state prosecutor's closing arguments. Let's break down the key points. The state argues that the case has been proven beyond reasonable doubt. They claim the video evidence and ballistic tests link Malema to the rifle discharge, and the prosecutor highlighted inconsistencies in Malema's testimony about his firearms knowledge. However, Malema's defense team, led by senior counsel Lawrence Hodes, has dismissed the state's case as speculative. They argue the charge sheet appears reverse-engineered to fit the state's evidence. Key witnesses like Larry Mavundla, who signed out the rifle, weren't called to testify, and there's no conclusive proof that the rifle fired wasn't a toy. Now, moving abroad, President-elect Donald Trump has made some eye-opening statements about the future of U.S. support for Ukraine. In a recent interview with NBC's Meet the Press, Trump suggested that Ukraine should possibly prepare for reduced aid once he takes office.
Should Ukraine prepare for less aid from the United States after you're sworn into office?
Yeah, probably. Sure.
You said you can end the war in 24 hours. You've even said you want to try to end it before you're sworn into office.
I'm trying to end it.
You're actively trying to?
I am.
Have you talked to President Putin?
No, I have not.
You haven't talked to President Putin
No, I have
since
not.
you've been
You
elected?
mean, no, well, I don't want to say that, but I haven't spoken to him recently.
So you've spoken to President Putin since you've been elected?
I don't want to say that. I don't want to say anything about that because I don't want to do anything that could impede the negotiation.
But you
I want to
have
stop
talked
it.
about
Let me
the
tell you
other
what I
world
have talked
leaders.
about. Let me tell
Okay.
you. There are people being killed in that war at levels that nobody's ever seen before. You have to go back to the Second World War, and even that, if you take a look at, and you know what it is? It's the soldiers largely. The cities have been emptied out and demolished. The country has been demolished. If I won that election, which you know how I feel about it, I won't get into it because we don't need to start that argument. I think it's an easy argument. It was really proven even more conclusively by the win that I had on this one. But
you did go to court, sir. You did.
Well, that's your opinion,
Yeah,
but I
okay.
disagree with it. Had I kept control, number one, Israel wouldn't have happened. Number two, Ukraine would have never happened. It would have never happened, Ukraine, Russia. But the number of people that are being killed, soldiers, young, beautiful soldiers, hundreds of thousands of people are being killed. And, you know, it's very interesting. It's level, totally level. The battlefields, totally level. You know what's happening? Yeah. The only thing that stops a bullet, you know what it is a body, a human body. And the people that are being killed, hundreds of thousands on both sides. Russia's lost probably 500,000. Ukraine's lost higher than they say, probably 400,000. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of bodies laying all over fields. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen, and it should have never been allowed to happen. Biden should have been able to stop it.
Sir, will the United States stay in NATO while you're in office?
In where?
NATO. Do you commit that the United States will remain a member of NATO while you're in office?
Again, they have to pay their bills. If they pay their bills, absolutely.
But not if they don't pay their bills.
But NATO's taken advantage of us because we were look, two things. Number one, they take advantage of us on trade, meaning the European nations, okay, like terrible. They don't take our cars. They don't take our food product. They don't take anything. It's a disgrace. And on top of that, we defend them. So it's a double whammy. So let me just tell you, I was able to get hundreds of billions of dollars put into NATO just by a tough attitude. I said to the countries, I'm not going to protect you unless you pay. And they started paying. And that amounted to more than $600 billion. That's a big thing. Otherwise, they wouldn't even be fighting. They wouldn't have any money to fight. If they're paying their bills, and if I think they're treating us fairly, the answer is absolutely, I'd stay with NATO.
But if not, you would consider the possibility of
Absolutely, yeah.
Trump claims the U.S. has committed $350 billion to Ukraine, while Europe has only contributed $100 billion. He argues that Europe should match U.S. efforts, given their proximity to the conflict. Trump also hinted at potentially reconsidering U.S. involvement in NATO if allies don't meet their financial commitments. On his Truth Social platform, Trump called for an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine, claiming that President Zelensky would like to make a deal and stop the madness. These statements have raised concerns among U.S. allies and security experts. Critics worry about the potential impact on Ukraine's defense capabilities and the broader implications for NATO and European security. TikTok's future in the US is hanging by a thread. A federal appeals court just dropped a bombshell, refusing to block a law that could kick TikTok out of the US by January. This whole showdown is about national security concerns. The US government is worried that TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, might be sharing user data with the Chinese government. TikTok's fighting back, claiming the ban is unconstitutional and messes with their First Amendment rights. It's a legal battle royale, and we've got the CEO of cybersecurity firm Black Cloak, Chris Pearson, to break it all down.
A three-judge panel of the Federal Appeals Court decided unanimously that they were going to uphold the law. They really thought for a few different reasons. Number one, that Congress had actually acted to protect people from a foreign nation. This was also very much so a bipartisan effort by Congress and also across two different administrations. So they thought that it was well-reasoned. They thought that the threat there from China in terms of being able to influence Americans, be able to use their information behind the scenes, that those are both confounding influences. And as a result, they chose to uphold it. By January 19th, so a day before President Trump takes office, TikTok ByteDance must be sold or divested. Well, what actually is probably going to happen most recently is that there's going to be an appeal into the Supreme Court of the United States. There will be some type of a stay that happens. How long that takes place is up to everyone's guess. But what then next could happen is, as if this does stretches into the Trump's presidency, Trump could try to go ahead and work with Congress to repeal the law. He could actually go ahead and try to examine different changes that ByteDance or TikTok make to their structure, to their organization, and actually, under the law, say that this actually serves as a qualified divestiture and go ahead and have that marked off as such. In that case, it would basically be up to the president to say this actually is a qualified divestiture, and then courts would have to go ahead and reinterpret what that is.
Pearson also says there could be workarounds like using VPNs to access TikTok from other countries. This whole situation is a mess, with TikTokers worried about losing their platforms and lawmakers concerned about national security. It's a clash between tech, free speech, and international relations. What do you think about this TikTok ban? Is it the right move for national security, or is it government overreach? Moving on, Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly are having a whirlwind of romance. Things have been rocky, to say the least, for the celebrity couple. From a surprise pregnancy reveal just weeks ago to rumors of infidelity and now a possible breakup, it's been a roller coaster ride. Let's rewind a bit. Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly, or MGK, were the epitome of a Hollywood power couple. Their whirlwind romance, complete with public declarations of love, matching tattoos, and even rumors of drinking each other's blood, captivated fans worldwide. Just a few weeks ago, the couple shocked everyone when Megan revealed a baby bump at MGK's concert, confirming pregnancy rumors that had been swirling for weeks. The news sparked excitement and seemed to solidify their relationship. But things took a turn. Eagle-eyed fans noticed that Megan and MGK seemed distant in recent public appearances. There were whispers of arguments, deleted photos on social media, and Megan was even spotted without her engagement ring.
It's over for Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly. Multiple outlets are reporting that the couple has broken up just weeks after revealing their pregnancy news together. E! News has reached out to reps for the couple but has not yet heard back. The split news comes nearly a month after Megan revealed her pregnancy on social media, tagging MGK in a pic of her with her bump. She also shared a photo of a positive pregnancy test, captioned, "Nothing is ever really lost. Welcome back." The couple met in early 2020 on a movie set, with Megan sharing on a podcast that year, quote, "The second that I was in a room with him and said hello to him and looked into his eyes, I knew right away that he was what I call a twin flame." The couple got engaged in 2022, with the Transformers star writing on Instagram at the time, "He asked me to marry him, and just as in every lifetime before this one, and as in every lifetime that will follow it, I said yes." However, their on and off relationship over the past few years has come with plenty of ups and downs. Back in a March interview with Call Her Daddy's Alex Cooper, Megan shared she was done speaking publicly about her romance with the musician.
What I've learned from being in this relationship is that it's not for public consumption. So I think as of now, I don't have a comment on the status of the relationship per se. What I can say is that is what I refer to as being my twin soul. And there will always be a tether to him no matter what. I can't say for sure what the capacity will be, but I will always be connected to him somehow.
Rumors of infidelity started to surface, with MGK's guitarist Sophie Lloyd being at the center of the speculation. While both MGK and Sophie have denied these claims, the rumors added fuel to the fire. Now, sources close to the couple suggest that they've called it quits. While there's no official confirmation yet, the evidence seems to be stacking up. So what do you think? Is this truly the end for Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly? Or is this just another bump in the road for the dramatic duo? Let us know in the comments. Now, in the world of sport, Manchester City's long-awaited hearing into 115 breaches of Premier League rules has concluded, according to reports on Monday, but a verdict is not expected until 2025. Mamelodi Sundowns announced the appointment of Miguel de Azevedo Cardoso as the new head coach of the club with immediate effect. Tiger Woods on Tuesday ended speculation about when he could be seen on a golf course, as he has confirmed he would play in the family tournament at the PNC Championship. New Zealand said it would shut down its greyhound racing industry, citing animal welfare concerns and the unacceptably high number of injured and dying dogs. And that's a wrap of today's news. We went from the Julius Malema's firearms case to Hollywood heartbreak with Megan Fox and MGK's split. Keep those comments coming. Let us know your thoughts on these stories. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for your weekly dose of news and views. Thank you for joining us on Reason News. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you the next time.